Hello, this Dance Dance Revolution video is a little different from the rest. If this is your first DDR video for my channel, I do a series called DanceDanceRevolution, which is a sort of playthrough series of the DDR games and more. In that series, I played through most of the entire playlist for every four-directional dance pad compatible rhythm game released in North America on the PlayStation 2, with 2 extra games as a bonus. In this video, I'm going to talk about the different games I played, how they differ from one another, and their release schedule. I'll also talk about the inspiration for the series, my personal experience, and how I set up a play area and live stream with original hardware. If you've watched the DanceDanceRevolution series, you won't be used to seeing my upper half, so I'll wear my usual blue socks on my hands to make this a bit more familiar for you. But if you haven't, I not only dance through the playlist, but critique songs, the difficulty, and go over each unlocking mode, and just chat about my life experiences. I should also open by mentioning that you can subscribe or follow on either YouTube or Twitch to watch me play these live, or just YouTube for all that, as well as an episodic series when it comes out. I do a lot of other gaming stuff, but as of right now this is my only rhythm game series. If you do come by, say hello, and I do take song requests. The first game I played was Konamix. I started with this one because I simply didn't own Dance Dance Revolution or Disney Mix on PlayStation 1 at that time. Later on, when I did own them, I opted out of including them because they don't have the timing adjustment settings that make DDR games playable. Konamix has 52 songs, all of which I played, and that stream took about 2.5 hours. Konamix came out in April of 2002. It starts with 32 songs, and every 5 songs you clear you will unlock another. You choose a character before you dance, but the controller port you're using changes your options. On the left side, the player 1 port, you select any of the male characters. In the player 2 port, you pick a female, because women are always right. Then you would select a category, and then view a few songs. But you can change it to display all songs at once in the options menu. I have no idea why you wouldn't just want them all at once. The first PS2 game was Max, and it would come out 6 months later in October. This would be when we first see the menu layout and groove radar that would become the standard going forward for the most part. This one has 71 songs, 34 of which you have to unlock. I only played 60 of these songs because I'm playing in original hardware without cheats, and unlocking them is a terrible ordeal. That ordeal is unlocking a song every 5 clears until 100, and then every 10 clears until 150, and then 2 more at 15 clears each, 3 more at 200, 225, 250, and then finally the last one at 500. You can also unlock some of these under certain conditions, such as getting AA ratings on another song or clearing courses, which are essentially short playlists. You can see why I didn't have them all unlocked. There are also no characters anymore, but that wouldn't last long. Max 2 came out the following year in September. You'll notice going forward that these games come out almost exactly a year apart. This one is the first time a DDR game has ever used licensed music videos in the background, and that's when posting these on YouTube became a considerable pain in the ass because of it. This one had characters dancing in the background, which was absent in the previous Max, but you couldn't use them until you cleared 15 songs. There wasn't a character select before the song list. You would have to go into the options menu and make your selections there. This one has a similar unlocking system to the first, where you would once again unlock a song or chorus every 5 clears. After 105, it would be every 10 clears until the last unlock at 250. Those unlocks include 69 songs, and I played 66 of them. To get that many, I would have to have 200 clears, but this is one I played a lot when I was younger, so I had already done a pretty considerable grind on my old save file. This stream was also a little over 2 hours. After that, I went on a side mission to play In the Groove, which is really just a DDR clone. Remember I said this journey was every 4-directional dance game? That means we're going to be doing some off-brand ones as well. This game came out in August the following year, just before the regularly scheduled DDR release. In the Groove differs in that it has hazards that you'll need to avoid stepping on during play, and occasionally a third arrow pressed that would mean you'd have to bend down and use your hand. You can turn these off if you want just a DDR clone. This game has 76 songs, which unlock similarly to previous DDR titles, but you can put a cheat code in to unlock them all right away, so I didn't have to do any grinding. However, the songs seem to be a little harder and a little longer. This stream was the longest at almost 4 hours, and it's the most exhausted I've ever been. Just a month after that, in September, was the next series named Extreme, and this one is a bit of a black sheep. It has a different playlist menu with an awful scrolling sound and excludes the groove radar. But and also, like, listen to that noise. That noise sucks. This was also the first DDR with iToy compatibility. Some of these games in party mode can be played with just the dance pad, but they kinda suck. I played 63 out of 71 songs in total, with unlocks at every 5 clears, but now every 15 clears is a character. Speaking of which, there is now a character select screen on your way to the music like we had only seen in Konamix before now. Another new addition is mission mode, where you have to do certain parts of certain songs a certain way to fill out the pictures. If you complete all 100 missions, it will unlock everything except the super secret song Memories, which you would learn about much later through a Burger King promotion. If that's not weird enough, this one also includes songs with Silent Hill characters. This one was also about 2.5 hours to stream. The following September had Extreme 2, which would return to the standard layout. This one has 74 songs, and I did play all of them this time. This was another that I played a lot back in the day, so I didn't have to do any grinding for this stream that lasted about 3 hours. This one would be top ranked for me because of the amount of bangers on the song list, as well as the addictive new game mode. In Dance Master mode, you would clear a song, sometimes with a unique condition, and continue selecting songs along a branching path. After one round of this though, you would then be free to go in any order you like as long as you completed the song that unlocks the paths. As you did these, the songs would unlock for purchase in the store, as well as alternate costumes for the character you were using, different arrows for gameplay, and secrets or hints to unlock extra stages. The only thing I dislike about these unlock modes are you are forced to start by playing songs on beginner. While this is fine for new players, it is kind of boring for experienced players, and it would be nice to just choose the difficulty with an enforced minimum. Every song you complete, even in regular mode, would give you currency based on your performance that you used in the store. It's not terribly challenging to unlock everything. I had only completed 3 out of 4 of the areas in Dance Master mode when I had unlocked every song. The next side mission came out 2 months later, a game called Flow, but I played that a little late in the series, so instead we move on to Dance Factory, which was almost a year later in August. This game just gave you a DDR-like engine, but you would insert your own music disc and it would generate arrows for you. Or you could make your own. What a cool idea that's certain to be a hit. Well, it sucks. The arrows it generates for you go out of sync constantly. And the editing system is just freestyle the inputs while the song plays. Did you mess up? Start over. And you cannot insert hold arrows despite them being possible for generated stages. So this is how the edit mode works. Oh, is it gonna make me wait a bit? When can I start? Do I have to do this with a controller? Oh, it's making me do it with a controller. I can't even do it with the dance mat? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm inputting buttons. You can do like combos, you can do your left, rights, combos. You can't hold though. The holds don't work. I've tried that. And I don't know what those blue circles at the bottom of the screen are. They weren't there last time I did this. But this is it. It just plays this song. And then you just freestyle on a controller, not even on the dance mat. And then it's just like, okay, do that now. That's the song. There's no like editing, there's no like nice menu, no layout, no going back. Say you do a part a little inconsistently, well, start over, do the whole thing again. And while I'm complaining, wouldn't this old T9 phone-style keyboard be more difficult to program rather than the one every video game has always used since forever? That's why the song titles are blank for this one. If you think I'm going to type out all these Finnish song names like this, you can go fuck. You collect points to get some cosmetics for your little character, which is also generated from a CD like Monster Rancher. It has barely any dance animations, and the backgrounds are just 90s music visualizers. The only way I was able to stream and redeem this game was by making a mixed CD of songs from my favorite band, Termi and Catalet. So it instead became a celebration of their music and not that awful attempt at a DIY DDR. The Supernovas were next, and this one ranks up there with Extreme 2 for my favorites. The usual September, now in 2006, came with 76 songs, and I did have an old save file with all of these unlocked, including one of my favorites, Max 300's Super Max Me Mix. Like Extreme 2, you would earn points by playing that you would spend in the store on the same kind of stuff, but the characters were just different skins of the little pixie that appears in Stellar Master mode. That's where you go planet to planet, completing certain objectives in a small portion of the game's songs until you have access to the different showdowns. These are a few songs in a row, sometimes with effects, which you beat to proceed to the next planet, unlocking store options as you go. On this save file, my stellar master mode completion appeared to be 64% and I had every song unlocked. So once again, it's not too punishing or much of a grind to get the entire playlist. Character selection is now tucked away in an options menu on the song list screen. Another year later, in September of 2007, was Supernova 2. I only played 56 out of 72 songs on this one. The Hyper Master Mode in Shop is similar to the previous Supernova, but a bit harder, hence why I don't have everything unlocked. You tackle one area at a time, doing specific song challenges. I think once you have all but 2 missions completed, you have access to a boss challenge, which then unlocks the next area. In this mode, you can equip items, also purchased in the shop, that can make things easier. You can reduce damage taken from missed steps, increase gain from hit steps, or make the timing judgment more generous, for example. While that can help a bit, I could only get as far as H, with J being presumably the last area, and I didn't even complete G. The next side mission is Dancing with the Stars, based on the hit TV show just a month later. This one expects you to keep your feet in the middle, like the DDR tutorial wrongfully instructs you to do, and then step with your left or right foot in the designated direction, and return your foot back to the center. The instructions come from the left and right side of the screen, signaling what foot to use, towards the judgment area in the middle. It can be a little confusing to interpret if you're used to DDR. Songs unlock as you complete certain dancers' playlists in the single player mode. Before, during, and after, you'll be treated to a pre-rendered video of the dancers and judges. There's nothing else to really say about this one. It's just okay, and I didn't bother counting the songs I did in this game. This next one is a DDR title, but definitely feels like a side mission because it was in January of 2008, way earlier than the usual September, and it is a North American exclusive. It is Disney Channel Edition. This has the fewest songs at 40, and I only did 35 of them. Songs unlock randomly after completing a song on a certain difficulty. 2 on beginner, 3 on basic, 4 on difficult and expert, 1 on challenge, and 3 others for getting a full marvelous combo on beginner, basic, and difficult. As they do unlock randomly, it can be a bit of a slog. The magic mode is a versus bot challenge that unlocks alternate character costumes along branching paths. The characters in half the songs are Disney Channel shows from that era, so I wasn't familiar with any of this stuff. The other half of the songs are standard Konami songs such as B4U, one of my favorites. X came out on the regularly scheduled September of 2008 with 75 songs, but only 61 danced by me on this stream, and a new hype man that I do not like very much. This has a sort of hybrid unlocking system. Playing through the story mode, which is once again different challenges across different songs, but sandwiched between character dialogue, unlocks a number of songs and characters. Each character has a story mode. Alternately, you can still get an unlock every 5 clears up to 355 clears. That includes songs, courses, and character skins, so you won't be getting new songs as frequently as you'd like. When there isn't a music video in the background, you'll see characters on 3D stages, which are actually modeled quite nice. A big visual improvement over the previous games. X2 is, in my opinion, the worst mainline DDR game of this journey. In this stream, I only did 37 of the 60 songs it has. That's because the unlocking system is the absolute worst. It's a hybrid system like X, but if you're just clearing 5 songs for progress, it includes songs, characters, courses, and arrow skins, so songs only come once every 10 to 15 clears. Alternately, the Dice Master Mode has you controlling multiple characters across their board game-like paths with dice rolls. The die is character and number specific, so you'll be mentally managing too much at once and you must move the number of spaces, no fewer, so you will likely walk past the mission you want to do and go back and forth until you land on it. This can be made easier as you unlock more dice for your hand, so you can just stack 1s or 2s with fewer characters. I tried following a guide and it would just take way too long, having zero fun. This mode is some of the worst gameplay I've experienced. It's possible I will return to it in the future though. This was the last PS2 DDR game, but I wasn't finished dancing. Flow, Urban Dance Uprising, came out just after Extreme 2, but I hadn't obtained it until later. I played 36 out of 50 songs because I just wasn't wild about this one. It didn't help that it lacks the time adjustment options, so I was a little off the whole time. It uses the standard DDR formula for its gameplay with the exception of 3 particular steps each song that when stepped on increase the difficulty for a little bit. There's no penalty for skipping them, aside from the reduced score of hitting fewer arrows. These are called power moves, and you won't see them unless you progress and unlock them in your character's street mode. In street mode, you select one character at a time, do a bunch of song-based challenges to unlock more songs, power moves, the next stage, outfits, and your character's custom judgment area. The cosmetic judgment areas are cool because they change over the course of a song. Aside from not being able to adjust the timing, this is a fine DDR clone with okay models and 3D settings. Between the two X releases came High School Musical 3 Senior Year Dance. I played through the entire story mode, including the personality quizzes on stream. That's 5 sets of 5 songs and a 6th set of 4. But these are full-length songs, not the shortened remixes you'd expect from DDR. And once again, I'm completely ignorant of the source material. I've never watched any of these movies and have no desire to. The gameplay is also way different. Steps move from the center of the screen to your judgment area on the outside. As you hit steps, a meter fills that you press X and circle simultaneously to use for more points. Now, if you were expecting me to make fun of this kids' movie tie-in game, hear this. High School Musical 3 Senior Year Dance has no business being as good as it is. Decent character models, 3D sets, choreographed dances to full-length songs, presumably telling the story of the movie, custom characters so you can insert yourself into the scenes, dance pad compatible, and accurate timing despite no option to adjust it? I was not expecting this level of work put into this game. So even though I don't like the franchise, I have to acknowledge how good of a title this really is. The last PS2 dance game I played was Jungle Book Rhythm and Groove. This game is actually the oldest in this journey, coming out 2 months before Konamix on PlayStation 1. This game came out on both PS1 and 2, but obviously I played the PS2 version. The reason I did this one so late was because it was more money than I was willing to spend, so I was experimenting in the background on modding my PS2 to play games I didn't own. I didn't have it perfected at this time, but was able to play this game from a thumb drive. I'll go more into that next time. Instead of 4 paths for arrows to travel upwards like in DDR, there are 2 paths to travel down to the judgment zone. Most of the screen is free to view the character models and sets doing their musical thing, and the story mode has songs sandwiched between pre-rendered video. Occasionally, you'll be shown a combination of arrows at the top. If you do that in order at any time between inputs, it will activate a power-up on the next input if you hit it. It is not really necessary to do until you get to a stage that requires you to do it 3 times to win. The timing is a bit off with my setup, but the gameplay and characters are pretty okay for the time. And last, but not least, though kinda least, is Dance Dance Revolution PS3. This is the only usage for the dance pad it comes with, so it doesn't get nearly as much mileage as the PS2 pad. This one has 50 songs, with 30 more through paid DLC and a couple full versions of songs as free DLC. I played 53 songs, not having unlocked them all, but having the free DLC and 1 paid DLC pack. There are no characters. That would have looked really cool in HD, and all the backgrounds are just random splices of video and various filters. This one really lacks personality, and doesn't even have the groove radar, but it did make use of the PlayStation Move for a bit more gameplay variety. Speaking of gameplay, it's the same DDR you're used to, but there are sections of song where the arrows had a bubble around them, and if you hit all of these there would be a screen shatter and additional points. This doesn't really change anything, since the goal is to just hit as many arrows as you can anyways, but the shattering is pretty hype. The way you unlock in this one is club mode. You select a number, and then a random playlist is generated from songs you have unlocked, including any DLC of that number. It starts at beginner but ups in difficulty or puts on a challenge modifier as you play based on performance. You fill a meter based on how long you played, then unlock songs as you go. To keep going without having to stop, I recommend you purposely miss some arrows when it gets to your level to keep it from progressing any harder. The song to meter fill ratio is pretty close to the old 5 clears for a song rate, so it's not terribly grindy. I just got bored of doing it. Talk about a bit of a flop to end this series on. I had a great time revisiting games I played so much when I was younger, and trying new ones. It's a pretty easy collection to get because all these games are under $20 and I already had a third of them. That is, except X2, which was stupidly expensive for some reason, but with how little I spent on the rest I didn't feel too bad buying. Until I played it, of course. Across Konamix, Maxes, Extremes, Supernovas, X's, Disney, and PS3, the official DDR titles, I played roughly 633 songs. This is not counting songs I decided I would take another swing at, so possibly a few more. If we include the DDR clones, In the Groove, Dance Factory, and Flow, that would total 764. And then if we include the unique titles, Dancing with the Stars, High School Musical, Senior Year Dance, and Jungle Book Rhythm and Groove, and it'd be okay if we didn't, the grand total would be approximately 829 songs. I also thought it would be interesting to see how long I was dancing for. To find that total, I selected all the episode files for DanceDanceRevolution Season 1, and it came to 41 hours, 40 minutes, and 47 seconds. Because I spend some time introducing each game, I subtracted all of the intro times for the first episode of each game, and then subtracted 10 seconds for every other video because of the opening animation. This isn't going to be incredibly accurate, since there's load times between songs and a lot of commentary, but let's not go too crazy. We'll say I was on my feet for about 39 hours and 43 minutes. Not all at once, of course, or I would surely be dead. And now for a technical tour on how I do this. Starting with myself on the dance pad, plugged into the Player 2 slot on my PS2. This is so the arrows will be on the right side of the screen, closer to my webcam input on the stream. The PS2 outputs in RCA into a powered converter to HDMI. The HDMI goes into a hub. This isn't a necessary step, but I record from multiple sources, so this is for my own convenience. The hub leads into my capture device, and then plugged into my PC, where it displays on my monitor in a stretched widescreen. And that's how I'm able to play it at my PC. With old hardware and converters involved, you would expect a little delay. However, with the timing adjustment options, you can still get a great classic experience this way. For the PS3 stream, it's the same thing, but instead of a converter, the PS3 HDMI goes into a splitter that disables HDMI encryption. You can turn that off for PS4 and 5, but to capture PS3 or Vita TV through HDMI, you need something like this. But now for the rest of the setup to stream. A webcam beneath my desk pointing at the dance pad. My bed is behind me, so I pull my comforter down to cover up the distraction of the stuff stored under there. Right in front of me is my drink, because you gotta stay hydrated, a microphone for commentary, and a desktop speaker with headphone jack which I use for earbuds. Wireless earbuds have unplayable delay, so I use a long enough wire to reach me. I do this so the microphone doesn't pick up the game audio, which is already picked up on OBS. 2 mats to keep the webcam light out of my eyes, because I have a glass desk. I didn't actually think to use the light and mats until I began Season 2. That's the entire physical setup, but there's still some stuff to do on OBS. The bottom layer is the background image. I didn't make this, but just took it from a DDR website. Webcam is next, placed in the bottom right corner. Promotional image for ad breaks to talk about my channels. The display from the capture device, but with a scaling/aspect ratio filter to smoosh it back to a 4:3 resolution so the viewer can see it the way it's meant to be displayed. The title at the top, which I sometimes change for non-DDR titles. Above the webcam is the cover art for whichever game I'm currently playing. A censor bar I keep ready with the cover art to block half the screen. This makes it so I don't get the video blocked when a licensed music video is on screen. And for Season 2, I added a portion of the screen captured where I make a spreadsheet for the DDR timeline so I can better demonstrate where in the games list I'm at. OBS sends to Restream, which broadcasts simultaneously to YouTube and Twitch, which is why I advertise both for streaming. The chat is to the left, so it's close to where I'm looking. It's difficult to read messages while dancing, but I always check between songs to reply to you. Having sciatica and being in my late 30s means I gotta take care of myself, and it's not easy when you tend to disregard your physical limitations. Every day I stretch, but before a DDR session I stretch a bit longer than usual. I also do some arm and core workouts before the session. Before I go live, I eat a small breakfast of a protein bar and an apple. Then I do a warm-up song as a test to make sure the calibration is good. I've preset the settings ahead of time already, but it's good to make sure. Then after some volume testing, I go live from what's been between 2 to 3 hours on average. During the stream, I keep hydrated, of course. Afterwards, I do another round of arm and core workouts, take a shower, eat a big lunch, do some chores or errands with my leftover energy, and have a protein smoothie for dinner. The following day, my calves ache a bit, but it's not so bad I can't move around and get stuff done. I begin massaging my calves after a shower with body lotion. The day after that, my legs tend to be much worse. Walking is difficult, they're warm to the touch, and very sensitive, so I have to wash gently in the shower. After one bad day, it goes back to just a bit of an ache, and that goes away completely in the next couple days, while I keep up the massages. During these recovery days, I notice a fair amount of muscle twitching, especially when I'm in bed. In no more than a week, I'm completely restored and feeling stronger for it, so I begin planning the next DDR session. The whole idea for DanceDanceRevolution started very differently. I was doing some PlayStation Move videos now that I'm living in a place with enough space for it. I remembered that the DDR on PS3 had some Move-specific trophies, and I thought it'd be fun to revisit. Because I had to wipe my PS3's hard drive some time ago, I lost my full unlocked save file. I was also looking for an excuse to exercise more, so I thought I could stream myself grinding out that DDR to encourage others to work out too. Then I remember that this particular release is a bit boring and lacks the charm of the older ones, of which I still had quite a few in my collection, so why not play those instead? I no longer had a PS2 dance pad, but surely I could plug this dance pad into my PC via USB and play them on emulators. Well, this dance pad is weirdly complex to get working, and DDR games do not emulate very well. After wasting money on a few converters and time trying to figure all this stuff out, I gave up on that. I no longer had a PS2 or dance pad, even though I had quite a few PS2 DDRs, but they wouldn't be hard to obtain. And the DDR games I didn't have, dirt cheap. I completed my North American PS2 DDR collection in no time, with a few extras. I already had quite a bit of experience streaming old games on original hardware with my Sega Saturn, so it was pretty simple to get the PS2 going. So the plan went from grinding the PS3 DDR live to playing through all of them. I hadn't really thought about how long DDR songs were, or how long it would take to do all the songs in a game at once. In my head, I would do one game in an hour every weekend and release the whole set as a single long episode. When the trial run, Konamix, actually took 2.5 hours, I had to rethink the schedule and how often I would play. And that's how DanceDanceRevolution became what it is, and I was excited to reach my goal of playing every four-direction dance pad compatible North American release rhythm game on the PS2, but I wasn't satisfied. You may have picked up on the hints so far in this video, or have been following my channels where I've already started streaming them, but I'm doing a Season 2 of this series now. In Season 2, I am now streaming full playthroughs of the DDR games that came out on PS2 in Europe and Japan. When a DDR game comes out, it is not the same across consoles and regions. Almost every release is unique, and I found a way to play those now too. So please tune back in to the YouTube and Twitch channels to join me for Season 2, which I'm streaming right now, and more in the future. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself yet. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come cheer me on.